Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great GitKon. My name is Kevin Bost. I'm a GitKraken Ambassador, and today I'm really excited to show you a bunch of awesome features in GitKraken Desktop, specifically a bunch of the AI features. Got a ton to show you, so let's dive right on in. The first thing I want to point out is getting started with this. Now, we are going to start in the preferences, which is either going to be this nice little gear up here at the top, or you can also find it underneath the file menu. And then from there, we're going to go GitKraken AI. And the first thing that I want to point out to you is that the tokens are per week. This is important because it means that you can go through and play with a lot of these features without fear that you're going to end up just being out of tokens for the rest of the month or whatever it's going to be. You only have to wait until the end of the week, and then you're back up and running again. Beyond that, there is also the ability to go through and bring your own API key as well. Now, this feature scales up depending on what SKU you're on. All of these GitKraken AI features are pro level and above. Depending on what you want in terms of administration of bring your own key AI integrations, check out the different pricing tiers on GitKraken. For those, I'm running on an enterprise SKU here, so if you aren't seeing all the same thing, check out what you might need and consider upgrading. A lot of these features are very much worth it. We check this box here, we can see that I've got the option of a bunch of different providers, OpenAI, Anthropic, Azure, Google, Ollama, or even a OpenAI compatible API. So you can think of this as like an Azure AI Foundry or something similar, where it's at least got that OpenAI endpoint available to it. So in my case, if I go ahead and pick on Ollama, I can hit test connection because I've got a local Ollama instance running. If I come down here, I can see that I've got models for DeepSeek, Gemini 3, all of the things that I have loaded into my Ollama model itself. For this, we're going to bounce back and just use the built-in GitKraken ones, which is going to be Gemini 2.5 Flash is where I've got all of mine set. And then I just want to call your attention to the different instruction boxes. There's a lot of different AI features bundled in here, and if you aren't getting the exact response or formatting that you're looking for, these instructions give you an opportunity to go through and customize it to fit your workflows. There's some pre-canned prompts in here that you can look to grab, or if you're just trying to see kind of, hey, what's possible, these are some optional ones in here. I do go through and customize a couple of mine, but a bunch of mine I do leave blank. Don't worry about all these features. We're going to go take a look at all of them here in just a moment. Let's jump back to the repository. Now, I have a bunch of different repositories I manage, and unfortunately, I often start work, forget about it, don't commit, don't push, and I come back and I find some work in progress. And conveniently, we find our first little AI sparkle that we get in this, right up here in this top right-hand corner. Anytime you see these little stars, this is AI just adding a little bit of goodness into our developer workflow. And so here, I can go through and get an explain of my working changes. Now, you might be thinking, hey, when do I really need to explain my working changes? When is that actually helpful? Now, it could be that you're like me, you've got a short-term memory, and that's helpful there. But it could also be that some of your working changes maybe weren't actually typed by you. In the age of AI agents doing a lot of coding for us, it's quite possible that some of your working changes may have been done by something else on your behalf, even if it wasn't just you. And in this case, we can see that we've got a bunch of changes. It's done a pretty good job of summarizing it. But then down in this impact area, it actually does a really nice job of giving us the behavioral changes, maybe some performance implications or critical implementation details that maybe I want to go and look a little bit closer at. You can also get something very similar clicking on commits elsewhere rather than just your work in progress. Now, on some of these cases, if you're clicking on a commit that's in your linear history, the explain is hidden underneath the little dropdown, but it's still there. This is also especially helpful if you're looking at other team members' commits or different pull requests, and you're just wanting to have that kind of quick explanation of what's here because maybe they didn't leave you a very good commit message to work with. So we're just going to take this as it is for now. I've already reviewed it. And then we get to our second little sparkle, this generate commit message down here. We can also do the same thing if we wanted to just do a stash really quick and not do a full commit. We can also gen the message there. But in this case, we're just going to go ahead and sparkle a little commit message. And there is a difference between the explain and the commit because what makes a good explanation is not what you want in your commit message. A commit message should be a short, brief summary, and that's what we get here. Great. Give the AI a nice little thumbs up. Thank you for being useful. And then we're going to go ahead and do a commit. Now, On this branch here, I was doing a bit of pipeline work. And if you are like me, YAML and pipeline is a pain, and you end up with a commit history that looks a lot like this, where it's just a bunch of, oh, please, please, oh, please, let the YAML work, let the white space finally line up, and you get all of these ugly commits. Now, this isn't really what I want to submit a PR with. I want my team to be able to see a nice set of commits representing what's there. So I'm going to shift click here just to grab all of the commits on this branch that I've got going. And I'm going to hit recompose commits with AI. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to look through that set of changes that it's out on this branch and recompose them. It's going to find related changes and put those things together and give me a new set of commits that are more in line with what it would be like if I did these with hindsight and 100% perfect accuracy. So we can see here it's come up with 4 logical changes. It's done the conventional commit message formatting, which is fine for me here. We can see that it's put all of the CI stuff together. Great, that seems fine. It put the window title off by itself and then put the integration kind of separate. I'm going to go through and I'm going to actually squash these 2 together because I really only want one of those. If this screen looks familiar, it's because you've done a lot of interactive rebases inside of GitKraken Desktop. This is a lot of the same UI being re-leveraged. Now, we have the same options for pick, squash, reword, drop. It's a little unusual to need drop in this particular case because the AI is just recompose those commits. When would you really want to drop a commit that's been composed together? Maybe, but a little unlikely. You can also drag, drop, reorder, move things around, or like you see here, squash and reword it. And since we're squashing this commit down, we're just going to double click here because I don't really want feet duplicated down here inside of the commit message. So we're just going to clean that one up. And then we'll go ahead and hit create commits here. And now we can see we have a clean set of commits that we could go through and open up a pull request from. This is a much better way of getting yourself into that nice clean state. Again, as though you had 20/20 hindsight when you started over, and no one needs to know that you didn't do it perfectly like this from the beginning. Do be aware this is a new set of commits. So if you've previously pushed, it is going to be a force push as though you are rewriting Git history because this is functionally new history. So just keep that in mind. The next thing I want to show off is one of the ways that I enjoy working with AI agents. So oftentimes, if I'm in the same folder as my agent, I end up kind of having to go hands off while it's working because if I'm touching a file and it's touching a file, we just fight with each other. And then I get angry and insult my little AI minions. A much better option is Git work trees. Now, most people show off Git work trees as, hey, this is a great option if you want to, not have to give up what you're working on right now because it gives you a full separate folder to go and work on. And that's true, and that is a good use case, but I think it's even more powerful with AI agents because it does give us that separate directory. So it allows us to take our AI agents, give them a directory to work in while we continue doing the important stuff on our main one. So let's do that here. So we'll go ahead and hit new work tree, and then I'm going to pick my main branch is where I want to start this from. Do be aware if you pick your origin, it will set your upstream following that remote branch. And I don't really want my upstream tracking main. In this case, I want it to prompt me where my upstream will be. So I'm going to pick my local one here. And in this case, we're going to go through and have it implement a bit of drag drop functionality for us. This particular app has a list of code snippet things, and I want to be able to drag them around and reordering them. That sounds like a perfect task to let my AI go through and do. And then the last thing I will point out is it's going to create me this work trees directory alongside my main repository with a subfolder for drag drop. This is important because a work tree is a separate directory. You can go and interact with it with your terminal or IDs or whatever you want to do, but it doesn't have your full Git database. What that means is you don't have a .git directory, so you don't pay that extra cost if you've got a big history tree or a lot of stuff in there. It uses the same Git database as your actual clone, but you get this second folder that you can then interact with. And you will see a little .git file in there. That's just the linkage bringing things back together. But they are effectively a lighter weight clone of your repository that you can work with. So that looks good to me. We're going to go ahead and send it. And when we open this up, you will note that over here on the left, I now have a little tree icon next to my drag drop to indicate that I am a work tree. I know, pun intended. And then up here, we'll note we've got work tree there, this little drop down if we want to switch, and also this little X is another way of getting out of our work tree back to our main clone if we need to. So in this case, we are going to go through, and I'm going to pop my terminal open here. And you'll see that it's opened up already into my work trees folder. If you'd previously opened up the terminal in the main clone, you may have to CD and move your directory around just because there is just the one terminal for the repo tab. So just keep an eye on what one you're in. It's really easy to accidentally forget. And in this case, I have GitHub Copilot installed, the CLI. And so I'm going to prompt it to go through and implement my drag drop feature. I've given it a little bit of information as far as the dependencies I want to use, giving it access to the tools. It's not quite a full YOLO mode, but it's close. So we're going to send it and let it take off and start doing work. And while it's working, we're going to switch back to our main clone and actually continue working on the more high priority stuff. So in this case, I've got a teammate that has gone through and sent me a cloud patch. Now, patch files in Git are effectively a single file representing all of the data in a commit. You can go through and make patch files and email them around and that kind of thing, or GitKraken allows for what's called a cloud patch, effectively taking that same patch file, but leveraging some cloud infrastructure to be able to share that between team members or email it back and forth if you want the links to do that. In my case, I've just generated a public link, and that lands me here. So I can take this link, send it to any teammates that I want. And in this case, they can choose how they want to open it. If they're a GitKraken Desktop user, if they'd rather be in GitLens and VS Code, or if neither, they can open it in GitKraken Dev. In our case, we're doing GitKraken Desktop, so we are going to pop in there. And we can see here that we've got our cloud patch up here. And we can see that right now it's based on my installer branch. We're going to actually just apply this to main. We don't want to go through and do this. And we can go through and look at all the changes here if we want, or we can just go ahead and apply this patch. And it's going to prompt us if we want to immediately make a commit. We'll say no for the moment. We want to actually think about what we're doing before we get too carried away. And more importantly, we're on main. This isn't really where we would want to commit the changes. We would actually want to get a branch going. So we can spend time going through and reviewing this. We can see Copilot's having all kinds of fun down there. So let's make a branch for this. We'll call it something like theming. And then we'll go ahead and we've got the changes stage. So we'll go ahead and use our fancy AI generated message here real quick. And that looks good. And then let's go ahead and actually submit this. So one of my favorite interactions is dragging a local branch pointer on top of the target branch where I want to open the PR. We're going to drag theming on top of main. And you'll note down here, I get this push theming and start pull request. I absolutely love this. It combines a lot of common operations that I typically do all into one simple drag drop operation. We're going to go ahead and do that. It'll ask what our upstream is. We're going to name it the same for my own sanity. And it's going to pop open the create pull request screen. And you'll note it's pre-populated the title and description for me from the commit. But what makes a good commit message and what makes a good pull request title and description aren't usually the same thing. So we are going to leverage one more wonderful AI feature of go ahead and generate me my title and description. You know, look at the changes that are in there and give me something that actually reflects that would be helpful for somebody needing to review it. Once again, gives me something, add light dark mode toggle, great, and then describes out all of the individual changes. Perfect. That's what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and create that pull request. Now you'll note I do automatically get a couple nice things as soon as I push that. One, I've got a little icon here indicating that there's an open pull request on this one. And then I also get a nice little button at the top here showing that I've got a pull request out on GitHub. Now you may or may not see these depending on your provider of choice. Different Git providers, there's different level of support and functionality there. In my case, I'm just using GitHub. We can click on this, we can see the code, we can actually review the code and suggest changes. This is another fancy button that will leverage that same kind of cloud patch backend infrastructure to be able to say, well, maybe I want to submit changes to a pull request that are outside the actual diff of the pull request. This happens quite a bit. Somebody maybe forgot to update something and you want to tell them to go and do that, but because it's not part of the pull request, there's nowhere for you to really like attach a comment to do it. This allows you to make a change locally, send it to them as a cloud patch to say, hey, here's the change in, related files here that I think you should go through and do. Awesome feature. for being able to communicate effectively rather than trying to like copy and paste file names and line numbers and hoping things line up. Just give them something that actually makes sense. More importantly, the person who receives it can then just elect to accept your changes from that cloud patch right onto their branch and push it up. Right? And then they get to remain as the author rather than you pushing to their branch and all the confusion that can erupt there. But we're going to go ahead and just jump out to GitHub on this. Now, in most cases, you should wait for your pipeline to finish. But in our case, for demo purposes here, we're going to go fast and loose and just bypass and automatically squash merge, get those changes in. Because we don't have time for that. Okay, it looks like Copilot has finished implementing our drag drop feature while we were off doing other things. Great, that's what we wanted. Let's go ahead and jump back to our work tree. We can see that we are back here. We can go through and let's just stage real quick. We can see all of the changes that it ended up doing. Looks like it referenced the library I expected, made roughly the changes I was anticipating being in here, did some work to go through and do the saving operation as we expected. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. We'll go ahead and generate our commit message with AI again. Once again, not having to spend a ton of time thinking about what I need to type in here. Just let the AI summarize it for me. It's really good at that. Let it do the important thing and let me do the thinking thing. Okay, so we'll go ahead and commit that, and then we'll go ahead and push this up. And now here's the part where we would generally want to go through and open up a pull request, but we can see up here that we've got this little warning up here. This is GitKraken's conflict detection. So if we open up the pull request, we're going to have a conflict that we have to deal with. And if we click on this guy here, we can see there are some settings that let you control what the target branch is. In this case, merge target is origin main, which is generally what you're going to want it tracking. You're going to want it pointed at whatever your target branches are. Maybe you've got, a Git flow situation and you're going back to a develop branch or similar. You can customize this as you see fit. But then it gives us two nice options here about how do you want to resolve it. Because in this type of situation, there's generally two ways people go about it. They either merge main back into their branch, or they rebase their branch on top of main, depending on which way you go. Me personally, I'm a rebase guy. So we're going to take that option and we are going to send it. And not shockingly, we have a conflict, exactly as anticipated. So we are going to click here, and now we get to see the best AI feature that I absolutely love the most. Auto-resolve conflicts with AI. This is absolute gold. So the number of times I've had bugs, wasted times due to trying to struggle through conflict resolution is high. I don't like it. This feature goes through and lets the AI resolve most conflicts fairly accurately, at least to the same level that I would have been able to do it by hand, if not better, because it's often more concerned with little details that maybe I would go through and overlook. Now, in this case, there's only one conflict in this file, so we only have one of these, but if you had multiple conflicts, you might see multiple blocks here as well. But we can also see that it is really confident, 100%. And just briefly glancing at it, we still have control of the three-way merge. We can make changes depending on if it made a mistake and we want to do something a little different. But in this case, that looks perfect. Let's go ahead and save it. We'll continue the rebase. There we are. Quick, easy. Branch is ready to go. We could once again go through and open up a pull request, and we'll have had 3 changes completed in the amount of time that we've been sitting here on this talk. So I realized that was a whirlwind tour, a lot of features really quickly. GitKraken Desktop has a bunch more packed into it that unfortunately, just with the time constraints, I wasn't able to show you today. I'd highly encourage you to go through and check it out. And even the entire family of GitKraken products. GitLens has some extra tricks in there. There's a CLI, MCP server, lots of great stuff packed in there. So hope you enjoy your GitKon. Stick around for more great content. And as always, happy coding.